So anybody who follows me on social media intensively or who has known me for years before I started YouTube, who's followed me, in the past, you know that I grew up a huge fan of hip hop. I love rap music. I love hip hop. I love the culture, especially from the 90s and in the early 2000s. And I always, it's one of the things that I kind of grew up with. And I know a lot of you feel the same. Well, my buddy MC HEADCASE, who actually has an album out, it's called Lunatic Fringe, a self-portrait. I'm going to link it down below so you guys can check that out. He forwarded this article to me on Twitter, and I wanted to do a quick video about it. And the article is from Genius.com, and he's talking about Dragon Ball's influence on a generation of hip-hop artists. And basically, this guy Gabbles tracks all of the lyrical references that he could find linking to Dragon Ball. Now here we have a chart. This is a really cool article. It's really kind of neat in that we have a chart looking at all the different references and all the times that phrases from Dragon Ball have been used in hip-hop music, starting with, of course, the word Dragon Ball. And, of course, the most overused is Super Saiyan because that's such an iconic thing, such an iconic power-up. And in the article, he goes into talking about Dragon Ball, the series. And, I don't really like the fact that he calls Dragon Ball Z a spin-off. That's wrong. Dragon Ball Z is not a spin-off of Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Z is a continuation of Dragon Ball. It's not a spin-off. That's not the right phrase. So there's a little bit of a mistake there, but he talks a little bit about the history of Dragon Ball, and then he goes into, RZA, and I've heard this before. It's been many years. RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan, who talked about, he compared the story of Dragon Ball to the journey of the black man in America. And I think what he's referring to is the fact that, I've made this comparison before, is that there's a link, there's an homage, I guess you can say, from Toriyama, where it appears like Frieza is kind of like the representative of like the slave owner, and the Saiyans are like the slaves, until of course there's a rebellion that happened many years later. I've always picked up on that interesting little piece of subtext that Toriyama has kind of thrown in there. I've always noticed also the skin color of Frieza, the fact that he's very pale. It might not be done on purpose, but there's definitely a connection there. And, he talks about that here in the article. And then they talk about, GT. It's not really too much there. But what I think is interesting is this chart right here, which he talks about like when Dragon Ball was airing in Japan and when it aired in the US. This information's a little... because Dragon Ball did air there, but he doesn't cover Harmony Gold, but I guess Harmony Gold doesn't really matter too much. But here in this article, he goes into all these different, I guess you can call it, and this is my favorite part of the article, by the way, these different homages, whether it be from production, like, beats, or whether it be from actual rhymes. Like, for example... right here in this RZA song, Must Be Bobby, he says, I keep rice soaked in coconut milk mixed with tofu, sit in the sun 6 hours and charge up like Goku. Like, that's one of the earliest references to Dragon Ball, which was, right around this time. And the article goes into all these different, the guy really did his homework when it comes to this, all these different, I guess, takeoffs of Dragon Ball. MF Doom sampled a Kikuchi song from from the Cooler movie. J Live, I get up in the zone like a Super Saiyan, Saiyan, super, like, that's, that one's okay. It could have been better. I push key like Dragon Ball Z, Lupe Fiasco. There's so many references. So I want to go ahead and put the link to this article in the description for y'all to check out, because it's interesting that you have all these artists, throwing homages to Dragon Ball. And the thing is, I think what the article was kind of saying here with this timeline up here is that there's a correlation between Dragon Ball airing on television and these artists coming out. But I somewhat disagree with that, because the thing about Dragon Ball is that the artists, a lot of them grew up on the series, either watching it on Cartoon Network or syndication. A lot of them were kind of like us, that we watched it on Toonami. I'm sure some of them watched it in Japanese too. I mean, everybody has their own way of watching it. So a lot of times, even if you see a Dragon Ball reference, like in the modern era, it might just be something they watched when they were a kid. It's not like Kai, like all of a sudden created new lyrics for people. But there's so many. There are so many. Look at that. I mean, if you look at it right here, there are so many references to hip hop songs from different eras and different artists. I mean, you know, dying laughing like Krillin saying something about blonde hair. Just, it's such a cool article. I'm really happy that Genius put it out, and I wanted to show this to you guys. If you are a hip hop fan or a rap fan, just a quick video to kind of let you know like that there are so many references, and I'm so happy that this guy collected them all together. Like, you know what I mean? That he put them all together. And there's probably more. I mean, there's probably more from some of the lesser known artists out there that, you know, this gentleman, Gables, I think, Gabbles. I rarely go on this website, so I don't know his name. There's probably more that he didn't even know about. Again, this information here is not the best, but the reality is Dragon Ball has had an impact on hip hop culture. I mean, it has. Maybe not, you know, a thorough impact to where every rapper talks about it, but a lot of them have. I mean, and this is the evidence right here. Anyways, guys, I hope you liked this little quick video. Go ahead and punch that like button. Subscribe if you have not, because we have a lot of stuff going on this week with new manga chapters coming out in Japan. I believe the Yamcha Volume 2 and Chapter 20, I think we're at 20 right now, right, of the Dragon Ball Super manga will be coming out. So absolutely keep an eye out on Geekdom 101, because I'll be bringing you all that information. Plus, I got some badass videos coming out this week, including one where we talk about Master Roshi and what he could do in the Universe Survival arc. So those of you out there wondering, why is Roshi on the team? He seems like he's not that strong. He seems like he can't contribute. I got an idea. So thank you so much. While you wait for that to post, check out some other videos I got on the channel here that I hope you guys enjoy, including some older videos I wanted to bring to the forefront that many of you new guys have not seen. So thank you again so very much, and I'll talk to you guys later.